Welcome to SCbio 2018 Annual Conference here in Charleston, South Carolina. Hopefully everyone's enjoying their time in my hometown, but be careful, you may want to stay like forever. The life sciences sector is one of the most important in our state. With over 500 companies, 42,000 employees, and an annual economic impact of over $11.4 billion, life sciences is a major industry in South Carolina and represents the fastest growing sector of innovation. You can find life sciences in all 46 counties, making it truly beneficial to all South Carolinians. We're grateful to have MUSC, one of the nation's top academic health science centers, right here in Charleston, helping to make the area one of the top sites for life sciences growth in the state. We're also blessed to have an incredible biomedical research facilities at Clemson and the University of South Carolina. Together, these institutions are leading groundbreaking research in our state, and we're so proud of both of them. Thank you all for coming to South Carolina. Have a great conference, and welcome to your new home.
Good morning and welcome. We are so excited to have you all here. I have to tell you, when we were watching all of the registrations come in, it was like the most wonderful thing ever. We've been sharing the list and just looking over your names, and we're absolutely thrilled and delighted and honored that you're spending this time with us. The life science industry in South Carolina is terribly important. It's growing. There's a tremendous amount of energy surrounding it and supporting it, and you are a critical part of that. Thank you to our speakers who have traveled from near and far to be with us. I also wanted to say a quick thank you to our committee and to our board members. If you're on the annual conference committee and if you're a member of the SCbio board, can you stand up, please? This is the group that is welcoming you today, and I'm just honored to be a part of this tremendous group. So thank you all very, very much. I also have the great pleasure of introducing my dear friend, SKonduros. For those of you that know him, he is just a tremendous leader. He has so much energy and true, genuine, authentic passion for this industry in South Carolina. I love working with him. It's a great pleasure. And so I'm going to welcome Sam, and he will kick off the conference. Thank you all.
Wow. It's great to be back in Charleston with all of you again. I did not pick the music, but I do like it. God forbid if my wife was ever going to leave me for any other man, it would surely be Justin Timberlake, who she adores. So I'm glad that he was able to serenade my walk up. Welcome to SCbio 2018. Let's dig in and have some fun and learn a lot. What an amazing reception last night, hosted by Explore Charleston and the Dewberry Hotel. Great energy in that room. And I'm so humbled, honestly, as Stephanie just said, to see all of you in this room. Record-breaking attendance. We continue to gain traction and energy in this industry. And frankly, none of this would be possible without all of you. You're making it happen. We have the privilege of facilitating a strategy and trying to channel the incredible energy that's in this room. It takes diverse stakeholders, and I'm talking from academia to industry to core service providers to economic developers to elected officials, business leaders, and on. So thank you for being part of. I realized I forgot the clicker, so Sam, you're going to have to advance me. All right. If you'll move on with the next couple of screens here. And I'm going to leave this over here. It's all about a mission. Build, advance, grow South Carolina's life sciences industry. And that kind of pure mission keeps us focused every day. I think I'm being delivered the clicker. Thank you, sir. This will probably make this go a little easier. So, last year, we came to you and built a case with some data of why. Why does this industry deserve the kind of focus and deliberate strategy we were given it? And a study that was conducted by the University of South Carolina's Darla Moore School of Business laid that out in a compelling manner. This year, we're working on how do we do it? How do we build, advance, and grow the industry? So the first statewide strategic plan ever forged for the life science industry was created this year with your input. And it's a beastly document. There's a lot in there. And consider it just a phase one living dynamic document that's going to be refined, changed, updated on a yearly basis with all of your help. But it does help create a roadmap for the future. We learned a lot from doing it. And we were even reminded about the power, complexity, impact of this global industry. And just to share a few key facts with you from that. Life sciences, already more than $1 trillion industry globally, will be $1.5 trillion by 2022, and that complements and feeds into a current $8.7 trillion spend in healthcare. And I'm going to emphasize, healthcare is a big focus for us. At the end of the day, we're here, ultimately all of us, to relieve suffering, and that patients will benefit from all of our collective activities. So it's very important to me that we have healthcare providers, clinical champions in the room, along with all the life science industry partners. U.S. pharma and the med tech sectors combined were about $675 million. That's back in 2015, so it'll be interesting to see where that number is now. If you take just the 10 top pharma med tech companies, top 5 pharma, top 5 med tech, over $240 billion a year. This is one of the really telling stats. This industry employs over 1.2 million people in the United States. That exceeds the population of about a third of the states in the country. Pharma industry alone employs an additional 3.5 million people, with some of the highest wages out there, as you can see. U.S. life sciences exported over $90 billion worth of product in 2017, and both pharma and med tech are growing at over 185% on exports right now. This last fact is probably the one that excites me the most in some ways. Research and development for the life science industry is about 3 times that of any other industry. And so fueled by innovation and a lot of smart people, many of them in the room. It is accounting alone, life sciences, for 25% of all the R&D in the United States. So that leads to some of the trends we also looked at that impact this industry and will impact South Carolina. And either we have to kind of embrace that and determine how we fit into that, how we leverage, how we mitigate different issues. We don't want to be left behind, so we're paying attention. Our healthcare system is loaded with talent, resources, some of the greatest innovators out there, but we have a broken healthcare system that we're all trying to help fix. It demands reinvention and probably demands a certain level of disruption that can be positive. But I mean, it is interesting seeing from Amazon and Google and Warren Buffett and others weighing in. Where do we go from here? What level of reinvention will it take? You're going to hear some really interesting panels on all of this. Our healthcare panel this afternoon is going to kind of chart the story of how did our healthcare system, no one set out to create a broken healthcare system. It's just a very interesting story from World War II to the present, how we ended up with the kind of provider-payer strategies that we have. So where do we go from here? Data. Data is absolutely the new currency of healthcare, life sciences. So things that were kind of a dream 5, 10 years ago about precision medicine, the right drug at the right time for the right patient, fueled by informatics and the ability to run a full human genome in a couple of hours for $900. These things are just changing everything. The question is what to do with all that data. How do you assimilate it, distill it, interrogate it into something that can be clinically actionable? And then there's cybersecurity, because many of us, Ancestry.com and whatever, our DNA is out there. So this will also be really interesting topics that we have as artificial intelligence becomes embedded with everything we do. Mergers and consolidation, M&A is going to continue at record pace. I think many industries, but this industry in particular. We have one of our rock star companies in South Carolina that started as Roche, and over a 1-year period, very recently, went from Roche to Patheon to Thermo Fisher Scientific in the period of 1 year. So that's a lot to deal with, but these are exciting times. There's a lot of opportunity with those things. Workforce. You're definitely going to hear about that. And tomorrow, we have a great panel with some thought leaders that are going to help us tackle what do we do about workforce? Because while we are so proud of, in many ways, I think of South Carolina as one of the most productive places on the planet. And we're blessed with a great workforce, but our unemployment rate is running between 3% and 4%. It's tight. We have a lot of big companies coming in seeking talent. And the life science industry is kind of that newest surging sector, and it demands talent. It's attracted to talent, so we've got some work to do. It will not be a natural phenomenon. We're going to have to be very deliberate about this. And then the last thing I'll say is kind of an excitement about convergence that's happening. I think people used to try to more neatly put biopharma and pharma over here and med tech and devices here, and then this whole digital space. They are coming together. They are integrating and creating very dynamic conversations. All right. Where does South Carolina fit into that global story? The good news is we are part of the story, and we're rapidly becoming a bigger part of the story with over 400 life science firms dedicated to this industry in the state, over 15,000 direct jobs, among the highest paying. Already, this is last year's number, so I'm going to be excited to see how it's increasing because we know it's getting bigger. But as of last year, an $11.4 billion economic impact on the state of South Carolina on an annual basis, over 1,500 related firms, over 40,000 total jobs. So we have a story that most people don't know, but we're going to tell it. It got even more interesting to us with the strategic plan when we started breaking it down. Who are those companies? Where are they? This map gives you some indication. That's not all 400 companies. That's just a smattering, but it shows you the way the denseness and the clustering, especially in our major metropolitan regions, but beyond Columbia, Greenville, Spartanburg, Charleston, strong pockets in Florence, in Aiken, in Greenwood. Every county in the state of South Carolina has a bioag firm in it. Has a life science firm in it. Some are on the bioag side and some of our more rural counties. So this industry is surprisingly well distributed throughout the state. These two maps just kind of give you just a few of who the players are. We have a lot of iconic brands in both the med tech space as well as the pharma space, not to mention several other sectors that you're hearing about. But the cool thing, along with some of those big global iconic brands, is some of those companies' names who employ hundreds of people were born in South Carolina, and we have an ecosystem now that can foster their expansion and growth right here. And we definitely, in addition to the big players, we want to grow our own. We don't want to continue to export our talent to other states. We want to create more jobs. I was talking to a group of Clemson bioengineering students last night. I mean, eyes on fire, excited about what they're doing, excited to see what's happening in the state. Economic development, that became the new mantra for this organization. I mean, at the end of the day, we first want to take care of the almost 500 companies who have banked their future on South Carolina. So that's job one. How do we help them prosper, grow, connect them with assets, resources, talent? Sometimes there's low-hanging fruit. You've just got to, again, get people together, create that body contact sport. We are working shoulder to shoulder with our Department of Commerce, our regional alliances, recruiting a whole new generation of life science companies from around the world who are going to find a very welcoming landing pad in South Carolina. So stay tuned for that. A lot of active projects in the pipeline. And again, I'm going to stress the fact that we are growing our own too. We want those companies who used to get whisked away to Boston and northern New Jersey and the West Coast almost immediately when they qualified for funding. We want to keep them here in South Carolina and grow them. So all regions have a story. The picture you see top right there is a group of site consultants on the Arthrex site. Arthrex, Naples, Florida, multi-billion-dollar company, could have gone anywhere in the world to expand their advanced manufacturing operations. They chose South Carolina last year. 1,000 jobs, major investment. And again, this is the energy of what we're doing. Voice of business. I think people have heard me say, I don't go to the State House or to Washington for fun, per se. Politics is a very complex arena, but we want to be there for this industry, as a voice for this industry. So if and when there is a policy at the state level or the federal level that is chilling your progress that is hurting you in some way, we will be on the phone with Senator Tim Scott, who you saw in the opening salvo. And we've spent time with Senator Scott and Senator Graham and our congressional delegation. And tomorrow you will hear, this afternoon you will hear from the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee for the South Carolina legislature. They are tuned in, and we're tuned in for you as needed. We have fantastic partners in bio, pharma, AdvaMed, national associations who help accelerate our efforts in those ways. And bottom line, the craziest thing we learned with the data last year is this is the fastest growing segment of the innovation economy in South Carolina on a relative basis, outpacing automotive and aerospace right now. There is so much upside because we've just gotten started. So the possibilities are endless. This screen, what it's all about though, is we will never achieve our vision if we don't integrate deeply with our research universities. This is an industry that is attracted to talent. And our research universities, our major healthcare providers, med schools, health science centers have a crucial role in our ability to bring industry, academia together to fuel South Carolina's life science industry. And again, this is just that other reinforcement point. We're very proud to have a powerful advanced manufacturing economy, but this is a state that wants to be part of the window of the future of not only this industry, but other industries. If you want a knowledge economy, life sciences is the fastest way to get you there. A couple of minutes just on the organization itself. And you know what's fun? Last year, when I got up here, we had kind of blown up and reinvented SCbio, and we had to kind of explain who we were, where we were going. It's awesome this year to be able to talk about the industry we support and just sort of mention the facilitative role that we take with your help. So again, for those of you who are new to us, we're a not-for-profit, 501c3, 501c6. We do have a statewide footprint now with an office presence, at least, in Columbia, inside the Commerce Department, in Greenville, and in Charleston. And the single most important thing we do is what's happening in this room. Convene, connect all of you. We have had, gratefully, humbly, a little bit of an organizational, instead of evolution, I'm going to call it a revolution. And again, it takes a team, it takes a village. We were an organization that had a meaningful mission from its inception way back, and thank God there are pioneers in this room who helped build this. But it got a little stuck in the last 3 or 4 years, and it needed some reinvention, some re-energizing. And the bottom line is, based on what all of you are doing, the news is good. We are coming close to tripling our funding in 18 months. Today is actually my 18th month day on the job. And this has probably been the most joyful career experience I've ever had. So thank you for giving me the privilege of doing this. You can see some of those data points where whether it's active projects or member prospects, just tripling, quadrupling what's in the pipeline right now. And thank you for that support. And this is where I take that moment to reinforce what Stephanie said. This is through the power of partnerships. This is statewide collaboration at its best. It's what's making it work. And we cannot do it without our investors, our members, our incredible board, the conference committee. While I was thinking about what I might say today, I had a team over here based on your support that were making all this happen. So I thank them and all of you and all of our many guests. And I hope those of you who have not joined yet, reach out to us or we'll reach out to you. But be part of this. We're building an army here, and we are on a mission. We will continue telling this story to the world. And I realized that was more important than I even thought. We get up thinking about it every day. Most people don't know South Carolina has a life science story to tell. We do, and it's a good one. And it's surprising and waking a lot of people up. So we'll continue to try to be a good marketing engine, a very dynamic, multifaceted program of work that you're supporting that is actually taking us around the world. Places like Arab Health Dubai, to Medica in a couple of weeks in Dusseldorf, Germany. Again, shoulder to shoulder with our colleagues and a very coordinated strategy. But we had over 40 planned events last year to convene all of you, from bio boot camps and putting our content experts in front of all of you to just summer gatherings in different cities, from Florence to Charleston, and it works. This is near and dear to my heart. The state also needs physical destinations, places for this industry to be. I've told you it's attracted to talent. It also doesn't like to be alone. It likes to be near like-minded people. It likes to brainstorm and spark with other players. So we're going to continue to mount strategies on how do we create physical destinations for life science to take root. I look at some of the smaller companies that are exploding with growth inside of innovation zones at Greenville Health System, for instance, and my question is, where do they go next when they break out? So one exciting picture you see right in front of you there is West Edge. So this is already over $300 million have been invested in a live-workplace mixed-use concept right in the middle of the medical district of Charleston, in between MUSC and Roper St. Francis. And the building you see there is the centerpiece. That is the Life Science Hub, and it's where South Carolina Research Authority, MUSC, co-working spaces, our future office for Charleston will all be their incredible wet labs. That project would have been unheard of in South Carolina 10 years ago. The fact that we can create spaces like that now. And I'm going to reinforce, again, collaboration at the highest level. This took commitment. The reason it's working is because the city of Charleston has skin in the game, MUSC does, SCRA does, and a very talented developer out of Atlanta who's developed most of the innovation space for Georgia Tech. So that's why that project is a reality. I see Michael right there with the foundation, and we're proud of what y'all are doing. We know that's going to be, this is a place that people will notice. You see some of the awesome developments that are happening strategically in the state. MUSC partnering with Siemens in a manner that they describe as unprecedented in their 194-year history. You're going to hear from the president of Siemens US this afternoon, sitting down with the president of the Medical University of South Carolina, and they're going to tell you more about what that means. Clemson, moving forward with a new human genetics research institute, Greenwood Genetics, on a $5.2 million package, bringing an incredibly talented research director to join the team down at Greenwood. Lots of industry announcements from Nephron to Zeus, and then Prisma. This is important. We will have one of the largest healthcare providers in the United States, headquartered in South Carolina, with the combination of Greenville Health System and Palmetto coming together. So we're not going to be a spoke on somebody else's wheel, and that's pretty exciting. Okay, so I'm going to wrap my part on this because this is the biggest challenge we face, workforce. If there is a limiting factor in our SWOTs and in our strategic plan that we said, if we're going to focus on one thing, it's going to have to be workforce, because this could be the limiting factor that just prevents the industry from being what it could be in the state. So we're going to get very deliberate about that. You'll be hearing about it. We're going to call on many of you to join us in the best way to tackle it. All right, so that's kind of where I'm going to wrap it, other than before asking our incredibly dynamic chairman of the board to come up and say a few remarks from her perspective, her leadership of Nephron as one of our largest pharma companies, and to moderate what will be a very dynamic biopharma panel, I want to show you a short video provided by one of our other partners, Pharma, because it is a reminder of our higher purpose and why we're all here.
Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Do not go gentle into that good night.
That one makes me emotional. What we do matters. What you do matters. Thank you.